Clergy sexual abuse survivors from around the world are making a journey for justice.
They're headed to the Vatican to demand accountability, and they're circling a day on the religious calendar for their protest. The event is being organized by 2 local survivors. Our Allie Donnelly spoke with them before they left for Rome today, and she joins us live with more. Allie?
The men have been and continue to call for reform, Christy, in how the Catholic Church helps victims and prevents abuse by priests in the first place. They say the Church and society have not learned enough from the lessons that should have been learned from Boston. Gary Bergeron packs for a trip to Rome. Sunday, the Salem, New Hampshire man will stand in the shadow of the Vatican, shoulder to shoulder with hundreds, he hopes thousands of other survivors of clergy sexual abuse.
We're all standing together, hopefully to send a message. Simple enough.
As the abuse crisis sweeps through Europe, Bergeron and Bernie McDade of Peabody, Massachusetts, will gather with survivors from 13 countries, what they're calling Reformation Day, laying stones, lighting candles, and observing a 60-second moment of silence.
First, it was a Boston problem, and then it was an American problem, or an American media problem. And then it just, how do you explain now? It's a world problem.
The men have been at the epicenter of the crisis since it erupted in Boston in 2002. Both say they were abused as children by Massachusetts priest Joseph Birmingham. He has since died, but stands accused of molesting 40 boys as church leaders allegedly shuffled him from parish to parish.
The Catholic Church had an opportunity. Society had an opportunity to actually start engaging the real issues, the real results of sexual abuse.
In a recent meeting with abuse victims in Malta, Pope Benedict, who McDade met in 2008, promised them the church would do all in its power to bring offenders to justice and protect children. But despite the papal apology, some see empty promises.
They're making statements, and they've been making statements for 10 years, and nothing has changed.
The men say for there to be real change, people need to put aside the power of the priesthood, to not see this as the sexual abuse of children by clergymen, but to see it simply as the sexual abuse of children. Period.
When society starts to realize this is not about priest, church, God, faith, religion, this is about the sexual abuse of children and the protection.
In addition to the gathering in Rome, the men are calling on the United Nations to define childhood sexual abuse as a crime against humanity. Christy?
And Allie, wasn't this originally supposed to happen in St. Peter's Square?
Well, yes, that's what the men had hoped for, but they couldn't get a permit to assemble in front of the basilica. Instead, the Vatican gave them permission to gather in a much smaller, less publicly visible area about a little less than a half mile away.
All right, Allie Donnelly, thank you. And we have a crew in Rome, and we'll bring you a full report on Sunday. Thanks, Allie.